How you configure and use URLs in any given web application is very important. So in this video, you are going to learn how to create a simple as well as complex, or that means dynamic URL in Django, and map the URLs with any given Django function or Django views and create app specific URLs. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Well, hi, I'm Shubham and subscribe to become a better software developer. First question is, what are URLs in Django? Well, URLs in Django are nothing but pathways that help redirect the users to different parts of the web application. How URLs work in Django? Django uses URL dispatcher that matches or maps with incoming URL to a particular function. When user visits any URL, Django's URL resolver determines which view to be displayed based on the URL pattern. Well, now let's jump into the code and we'll see how we can use it. So what I'll do is let me close all of them so that I can explain you from scratch. Let me also close this one. We'll expand this. We'll go to our src. That means the project directory, and inside this we can see something called as urls.py. So we are going to use this, and over here we can already see something called as path, which takes in first parameter as string and then something is given. So let's say that we wanted to create an index function which will display something, right? And we want to display that on our index path. So we have to mention it over here, path, and in this one, since we want to display it on the index path, that means whenever user visits our local host is to 8000 and front slash at this part if we want to display anything. So for that, what we have to do is we have to put it like this, okay? And over here, whatever function you want to run, so let's call it as views.index, okay? And let's import it. So from blog import our views, okay? We have not created our index function yet. We will soon create it, but for time being just follow along, okay? And then third parameter that we want to give is important, is called name, and in this one you can give any name and it is of type string, of course. So let's say index, you can call it anything, okay? And comma separate, of course. So now if we save this, and you know what, let's actually go to blogs, and in the views, for time being, let's create a function or endpoint, actually function itself. So I'll call it as def index, just understand this, okay? And what we'll do is return http response hello, and I'll import this quickly. So from django.http import http response, okay? I'll import this, save this, and if we go back over here, we won't get any error, okay? So we'll run our project and let me show you what is happening. My environment is already activated. Please make sure you activate your environment. I'll do is cd src and python manage.py, press tab, it will autocomplete and run server. When we do this, and if we write localhost, as you can see over here, hello is coming. That is because when we are specifying this blank path, it is taking this empty path, okay? And that time it is running this index function and it is given a name index. This you won't really understand now why it is important, but in future I will show you how it is used and why it is important, okay? But make sure you give some name to every path that you create. And this is a list, and list is given to URL patterns. But if you notice that we have not imported URL patterns anywhere, actually let's clear this and save it, and yes, that is how it works. Now if we go back over here and let's say we go to any path called as Shubham, I just want to show you, that's why over here you can see using URL config defined in src.urls, Django tried these patterns in this order, and it has two paths. One is blank whose name is index, and second one is admin. And we can of course go to our admin side, which I think I showed you all in the last video. So if I say admin, it goes to login page. Now let's say that you want to display all the blogs. For that, what we would have done is go to our URLs, and over here we would have said blogs. Okay, and front slash, because it is important in Django to put a front slash, because it comes built in with front slash. Whenever you call any URL in the Django, we always end up with front slash over here. Okay, and over here right now nothing has changed. Let me save this, and now if we go to blank path, it will give me error because there is nothing called as blank path, or there is no view function that is present in the blank path, as well as no URL that we have specified in URL patterns that is present at front slash. Only there are two URL patterns, that is one is blog and another one is admin. So if I go to blogs now, front slash blogs front slash, as you can see it is printing hello. So this is how we are able to create our path. So this is how we are able to successfully create a simple URL in Django and map it to a Django function or Django views by making use of path. But in past, now also there is something called as re path, re underscore path. That means it is regular expression underscore path. And then over here you could have specified regular expression and then of course called your view and give it a name. But since I don't really like regular expressions and hardly any developer really remembers how to do regular expression, so that's why we are not using regular expressions. Okay, and you could have imported this, so I don't want to use it. Now let's say that when you're opening any blog, right, you want to open a detailed blog. So I will copy this, and for that what we can do is after this we can specify these arrows, and in this one whatever the path type of parameter you want to receive, let's say that I want to receive ID, so that will be of type int, and for that I'm going to say int underscore or pk, or whatever parameter name you want to give. Let's say you want to access it as ID, so ID, or let's say you want to access it as index ID, whatever you can specify it over here. Okay, and while accessing it in the browser, all we have to say is blog slash whatever the ID is we want to pass. If I press enter, paste not found. Okay, because there is something called as index over here. Wait, let's end this actually, and if you refresh, it says index got unexpected. Okay, because we are calling the same index function and it does not really receive anything. So let me quickly copy and duplicate this. Don't worry about these functions because I will explain these in the next video. Let's now concentrate only on getting data or working with the URLs. So in URLs what we have specified is ID, right? So I will mention ID over here and we'll call this as index underscore ID, because we have to of course name functions differently. Function name should be unique, so that's why that. And over here we can specify index ID and the name also should be unique. Okay, so now let's go to the browser, refresh this page, and as you can see, hello. And if we go to views and print the ID over here, we can of course access it. So ID, let's save this, go back to browser, refresh this one, and over here you can see ID as one. So we are able to access that also. Now let's say that user passes something. Okay, I haven't tested this yet, but let's say that user passes some string over here, and as you can see it does not really take in the string. It says paste not found because we are expecting int as the data type over here. Now if we wanted to receive another dynamic parameter with some ID, instead of ID we wanted to receive some string field, then we would have put over here as str and let's say the name of the blog. Okay, or let's call it as title. Okay, because blogs have title, so title, and for that I'll create another one and I'll call it as title. And okay, let me show you what happens when we do this. Okay, so we'll take this index title, paste it over here, paste it over here. Let's save this, go back to browser, refresh this. As you can see, we are getting error because index title got unexpected keyword argument title. Okay, so we'll go back to views and of course change over here as title, and we'll paste it over here. We'll go back to URLs, refresh this page, and as you can see it is going hello, and over here you can see whatever string I had passed from the URL is also getting accessed and printed. So this is how we are able to create a dynamic URL in Django. Now let's say that we have 10 such applications, okay, apps in Django. So blog 1, blog 2, blog 3, something like that, okay, and every views have like at least 10 different functions or 10 different view functions, okay. Then let's say 10 into 10, 100 URL paths, and all those 100 URL path, if you had to specify it in the settings, actually projects url.py, it would have been like messed up thing. Like you would have hard time figuring out what is happening and how it is happening, because what you would have done is you would have given some app name blog slash let's call it as blog slash blogs. Actually let's call it as like this, blog 1, then we'll again specify over here blog 1 slash this. Then if we had blog 2, then blog 2 slash this, and whatever over here, okay, URL, whatever URL or whatever function you want, URL path that you wanted for that particular URL or that particular app. So this would have been really messed up. So what Django came up with is very important, and actually it is very easy to understand. So what it did is it said that you can configure URL at application level, that means app level. So over here all we have to go in the app, we have to create a new file called as urls.py, and in this one we are going to do is URL patterns, and URL patterns is equal to again a list. That's it. And in this list whatever path we specify will be available to us, and of course we need to import path, so that comes from Django URL. So I copied blank thing, so from django.urls import path, and in this one we can specify any path. Let's say that we wanted to run index function, right? So we would have done it over here. So it would have been views.index, and of course we would have named it, name will be equal to index or whatever you wanted to name, okay. And here we'll import from dot import views. Now nowhere in our application we have specified that there is something called as urls.py inside our blog application. So we have to specify that in our main URLs, that is projects urls.py. For that what we'll do is we'll import include over here, include, and let me fix the spelling of include, and over here we have to specify again path, and on what path do we want to access these URLs. So on blank path I want the blogs URLs to be included over here. So we'll do is include, and in this one in double quotes we have to specify first the application name, that means app name, blog, and URLs. You could have created any other file name called as URL underscore something, and over here we had to specify the same thing, URLs underscore something, but it is common or standard practice to create urls.py. And on blank path this will be included, that means whatever URL patterns that we specify over here will come over here on the blank path. And let's say that you had another application blog2.url and you wanted to access them on, let's say, actually users, okay. So you wanted to access users URLs on the path user. So in this one, let's say we had login, okay, login one. So then it would have been included over here, and in the browser we could have accessed at, let me type it down over here, localhost is to 8000/users, and whenever we go to this particular path, right, everything that is present in the user URL will be available to us. Let's say we had login, then it would have been available to us to browse it, okay. This was just an example, it is not there right now, but in the future videos while creating our blog application we are going to use this, okay. Let me save this, and actually let's copy these two and we'll remove it from here. We'll also remove all these imports because they are not required. Save this one, go back, paste it, comma separated, and over here also let me remove this because they are not required, and actually it will be called as blogs string, and over here also blogs. Save this, and if we go back to browser, let's try to access our a wrong path, okay, so that I can show you what all are available. If you see on blank path, index function is available. On blog slash in id int id, there is one more path. Then blog slash title, there is one more path. So what we'll do is, when we go to the blank path, it loads hello. Actually, let me rename this hello in index id and hello in index title. We'll save this, refresh this one, and over here it is there. Now let's say that we pass some id 3. Actually, we have to specify front slash, and that is not working because it requires blogs. So blogs slash 3, and as you can see, hello index id. And if we specify over here some name, then it will give hello index title, because that is how we have mapped our URLs, or those are the functions that we have mapped our URLs to. And with this, we have successfully learned how URL works in Django. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.